Concealment is distinctive from self-preservation. It is the practice or fact of concealing what ought to be revealed.
Did you ever hear back? And then he said, no, they're looking for work now. And that's when I got really scared that something was wrong.
Let's just cut to the chase. This case, the Brian Walshe case, he has been found guilty, is a very clear-cut case. Google searches, a mountain of communications. There was also CCTV footage, audio recordings, GPS coordinates, concepts I never thought existed in the state of Massachusetts when I first encountered my first mass case, which was the Karen Reed case. From the moment it was introduced at trial that Ana was reported missing by her husband Brian Walshe, nothing really added up from that point. However, that is not what inspired this particular video.
A tragic search that you will hear about. You'll hear the evidence of that. You will hear evidence that those searches evolved from how best to dispose a body to even darker subject matter. As he wrestled with the fact that Ana Walshe was dead. You'll hear evidence that now he is panicking and he doesn't understand what has happened and what is happening.
This was the moment that inspired this video. I wanted to know the probable reasons why the defense introduced this piece of information in their opening statements, and I wanted to explore further the strategies that they used to try and mitigate all of the inevitable bad facts that was going to be revealed as the trial progressed. So on this video, I shall show how the defense set out to try and fight these bad facts.
She never told you, hey, Will, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna talk to Brian, I'm gonna blow up my marriage and come be with you. She never told you that.
That is correct.
And show how the ripple effect from each move that the defense was making revealed a lot more regarding Ana's and Brian Walshe's relationship. Hi, I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup Man, and welcome to Ketchup Court, where we are on a mission to structure the chaos of trials bit by bit, making it digestible for you. If you're unable to sit and watch 7 hours or 8, however long it takes for trials to conclude for the day, or go to the courtroom and see the proceedings for yourself, you are in the right place. We have got you covered right here. As with all of our recaps, the trial reports of the cases that I do cover are available on the Ketchup Court website. This is where you can glean the importance of a witness. You can get the timestamps to the original feed so that you can make it easier for you to catch up. It's all available on the website. The links are in the description below.
Brian Walshe will tell you, how is it that I make sure that my wife and my 3 sons are financially secure if I have to go to prison?
To understand how the defense executed their theory, we have to lay down the timeline of events using all of the testimony testified throughout the course of this trial so that we can have a blimp kind of view of the courtroom and see clearer what was going on. Let's start from the very beginning.
Brian Walshe was arraigned in United States District Court in Boston, Massachusetts on May 11, 2018. On April 1st, 2021, Brian Walshe pled guilty to indictments for interstate transportation for a scheme to defraud and conducting an unlawful monetary transaction. On October 6, 2021, an initial sentencing hearing took place in the United States District Court. Brian Walshe was seeking a sentence of probation and restitution, while the government, through the United States Attorney's Office, was seeking a sentence which included incarceration of 30 to 37 months and restitution of approximately $475,000.
In between the time that Brian Walshe was arraigned for his case, Mutlu, the 44th of the 46 witnesses that testified in this trial, was meeting Brian Walshe and Ana for the very first time in 2020 at a leadership program at Austin Breakthrough Academy.
How are you familiar with Ana?
I met her through Brian. She came to one of the graduations, and then I was introduced and knew about her interest in real estate. We had a mutual friend, so it was inevitable that we would meet.
When did you hire Ana Walshe to start working for you?
It was the summer of 2020.
This matters because Maleni Ramdahal had testified to becoming Walshe's probation officer on November 2021. And that next month, in December 2021, Jem Mutlu had testified to supporting Ana and Brian Walshe at their hearing. That was Brian's world. That was everything that was happening in his world. But what about Ana's world? What was going on there? And this is where William Fastow is kind of introduced into this whole story, because this is when he had met Ana through Jem Mutlu, who had basically introduced Ana to him to help her purchase a property in DC.
Ana Walshe was referred to me by a mutual friend, Jem Mutlu. They were looking for a home in the DC area, and I assisted them in purchasing a townhome in Chevy Chase, DC.
Brian was not there when both of these people met.
Shortly after I started spending more time with Ana, she would talk to me about him as the man who sold her house, but then her interest in him and just hearing a lot about him as a person. She told me that she was interested in him, that she had a crush on him, but it was a lot more talk about their connection and, like, I guess what she wanted to have happen with him and her, I guess, just her interest.
The depth of Brian and Ana's relationship was revealed through William Fastow after we got to learn about the effects of the legal troubles that he found himself in from that fraud case. And all of this information was interestingly not from Jem Mutlu, who was openly very close with Ana.
She had attempted to apply for a insurance policy, blanket coverage policy for her house, and the company she had reached out to was unwilling to underwrite the policy. And they had disclosed to her that it was because of Brian's history.
Meanwhile, during this same month, when the sale of the property had occurred.
And now, when did you begin renting to the Walshe family?
I believe it was March of 22.
A home for them to stay temporarily, and they were supposedly his last tenants in March 2022. They had paid around $5,000 in dollars up front for 6 months rent, and he also testified to extending that lease. The person that made this payment for them was Brian Walshe's mother, Ana Walshe, who I don't know what kind of role she plays in this, but she was mentioned a lot. During this time, we heard on cross-examination of Mark Selvaggi, an insurance broker who testified to Brian Walshe applying for life insurance and was being rejected in the process. And in turn, it was Ana Walshe that ended up applying for life insurance for the entire family, and she was due to receive over $1 million in the event of her death. Mark Selvaggi's testimony was corroborated by William Fastow, who gave us a glimpse into some of the cracks that Brian and Ana's relationship seemed to be having, and this was way beyond the affair that Ana was having with William Fastow.
When would you say that your relationship became more serious?
In the early to mid-summer.
What did Ana tell you about how she felt about her children not being with her in DC?
Initially, she felt that it was something necessary for her to get through, but as time came on, it became a significant issue for her. It deeply upset her, and in time she was even despondent about it.
What do you mean despondent?
Ana felt deeply disappointed that she wasn't in a position to be the mother the children deserved. Ana felt it was really important that when Brian was to find out about the relationship, that she would hear it from her. She felt it would be a strike against her integrity if he found out a different way.
Did you keep your relationship with Ana secret?
I did not know.
Did you tell people about your relationship with Ana?
Yes.
Fast forward now to autumn 2022, where in October, we got to learn from Harrison Smith that Ana had purchased tickets on the 30th of October for flights to Ireland on the 23rd of November 2022, and it was confirmed later on by a witness that by Mr. Foley. I forgot his first name, but he testified that Ana had boarded the flight.
And did you begin spending holidays together?
Yes,
And did you spend Thanksgiving together of 2022?
we did.
And what plans did you and Ana have for Thanksgiving of 2022?
We had planned a trip to Dublin, Ireland together.
And when did you get to Dublin?
I believe we left on the 23rd or 24th of November.
In November, flights from DC to Boston for the 30th of December 2022 were purchased on the 5th of November. This also included future flights traveling back and forth from Boston to DC, revealing the pattern that Ana was pretty much used to doing. Put a pin on this moment. December 2022 rolled around, and this was the most contested month for both sides. Alissa Kirby, who is a friend of Ana at DC and also is her co-worker as well at Tishman Speyer, she also gave testimony about Ana having plans to meet up.
The plans I'm talking about on the 20th, she had canceled because she wasn't feeling well.
Right, yes.
Okay.
At this point, from the 20th onwards, there were 3 hinge points created that I noticed that were created due to the Google searches that was made on the 25th of December that the defense tried their best to manage. One of them was Christmas. This is why I said earlier that this particular month is the heavily contested month. Connor Keith and Nicholas Guarino, who you may have remembered from the Karen Reed trial, became extremely competent again at this particular trial, providing communications and search history for this Christmas period. They served as anchors to deliver the prosecution theory of why Brian Walshe may have been pushed to murder his wife. It was revealed that Brian had made a search for JetBlue at 11:52 a.m.
The date is December 25th, 2022 at 11:52 a.m.
And what is the value?
Check a flight JetBlue.
What is value? How is value created
Value.
on the phone?
Search term entered by the user of the device.
It's not being generated automatically by the phone. The user is inputting the value.
Yes, sir.
What is the date and time of item 21?
December 25th, 2022 at 12:09 p.m. William Fastow, DC Real Estate.
This was a decisive moment at trial, and I will explain later why this moment was pretty much a double bind for the defense, and it became a two-edged sword for them.
Ana Walshe, Tishman Speyer. Christmas Day plane crash. Jeff Chad, Tishman Speyer. Ana Walshe found dead. Jeff Chad.
So, on cross-examination, it was revealed that there was a call between Brian and Ana for 1 minute 23 seconds. Then more searches were made by Brian. Ana Walshe, Tishman Speyer, Christmas Day plane crash, Jeff Chad, Tishman Speyer, Ana Walshe found dead, Jeff Chad. Then, after all those searches, it was revealed Ana had messaged Brian detailing what had happened on cross-examination.
Would you agree with me, Trooper Keith, that if you lined up all of the data that showed what happened on those 2 devices, that you would have a better understanding of exactly what was going on during the day of, for instance, 12:25:22 and 12:26:22, that would help you better understand the context of the information?
There are 2 different devices. They'll be used at 2 different times.
And the text messages, references that you testified to yesterday, check a flight, JetBlue,
That is correct.
dated 12:25:22 at 11:54:05. The top of the page, you see that? Yes. Do you see that, Trooper? The text message from number 8646 to phone number 7966, there's a message of, I haven't heard from you at all, correct?
Correct.
Then another phone call between Brian and Ana around the same time the text was sent, lasting 4 minutes and 45 seconds. More calls between Brian and Ana occurred at 1:40 p.m. lasting 1 hour 22 minutes, another at 3:02 p.m. lasting for 6 minutes and 5 seconds, and one more call lasting 1 hour 27 minutes 7 seconds on the same day, again reviewed and sequenced by the defense. However, something else was happening across state. Alissa Kirby, Ana's friend that we mentioned earlier from DC, gave testimony to have receiving a call during this time period.
Brian called me that day, and he was looking for Ana because he said he hadn't heard from her. And so, because she lived around the corner, I offered to go over there and check on her. As I was getting ready to go, he had messaged me back that he had gotten in touch with her.
That's a call that lasted 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 33 seconds, correct?
Correct.
And it was a call that originated on the phone assigned to Brian Walshe.
Yes, it was an outgoing call to the number ending in 7966. Ana knew.
Time stamped at 3:02:37 p.m. There's a call that lasted 6 minutes and 5 seconds. And once again, it originated from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, correct?
Correct.
Now, go to page 10. There's a call that lasted 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 7 seconds.
Correct.
Now, that call originated from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe, correct?
Yes, that is an incoming call.
And do you remember what time of day that phone call was?
Not exactly, but maybe I feel like it was noon or early afternoon.
Okay. And what was his demeanor when you spoke to him on the phone?
That day, I think he was worried or a little bit nervous.
Did you speak with Ana Walshe that day on Christmas Day?
Yes.
And when did you speak with Ana Walshe that day?
It was much later that day in the afternoon. I was already with family for the holiday, and she called me as she was driving up to Massachusetts.
And what was her demeanor when she called you?
She was very upset.
And when you say very upset, can you describe that?
Yeah, she was angry, and she was upset that Brian would have called me that day because, she said that she'd only not spoken to him for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, that it really hadn't been that long. And
so how long did you speak with her for that day?
Maybe like 20 minutes.
And did you arrange to see her again?
Yes.
When sequenced, it revealed that this relationship was not all right. The relationship between Brian and Ana, just to be clear, which also comports with what the state was theorizing in the opening statement. It also reframes the perspective of what these phone calls between Brian and Ana were probably like, especially that 1 hour phone call before her call to Alissa, which I believe would have happened after the calls were made by the virtue of her flight being cancelled and Alissa saying that she was driving back to Cohasset, if I pronounce that properly. Anyway, let me know what you think about the nature of these calls in the comment section. Let's go back to the timeline.
Time stamped 7/26/02. It appears that that phone texts an image of a car to Brian Walshe, correct?
Correct.
Photo looks like it's a photo of a Porsche.
Yes. December 25th, 2022 at 8:28 p.m. Autobahn.
And on cross-examination,
time stamped 7/26/02, appears that that phone texts an image of a car to Brian Walshe, correct?
Correct.
Photo looks like it's a photo of a Porsche.
Yes.
Time stamped 8/28/12 p.m. That's one of those Autobahn searches, correct?
Correct.
Where it appears that someone's looking for a luxury car, or at
Yes.
least searching the Autobahn for a car.
Yes.
We see a text that time stamped 10/34/50 p.m.
Yes.
And it involves a property listing at Zillow.
Correct.
And if you scroll down, they continue to be text regarding Zillow postings for property, correct?
Yes, they all appear to be text sent from the number ending in 7966, assigned to Ana Walshe, to 8646, about properties.
And those properties are all situated in or around the greater D.C. area or Baltimore, correct?
Yes.
And do you know, officer, from your involvement in this case, about what time Ms. Walshe arrived in Cohasset when she drove up from D.C.?
On the 25th?
Yes.
I do not know.
Further phone calls were made between Ana and Brian on the 26th, but the 27th of December 2022 posed a new threat, a new unique problem for the defense, creating another hinge point as there were searches made on Brian's phone regarding divorce lawyers and also porn sites.
That's that reference you were asked on direct examination yesterday, that reference to all my exes, correct?
Yes.
And now we're looking at Exhibit 168, the call log. They begin a series of phone calls, 3 phone calls, 10 minutes and 43 seconds, 1 minute and 1 second, a third one, 26 minutes and 21 seconds, all originating from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, Ana Walshe. There's a 23-minute phone call.
December 27, 2022, 10:41 a.m. That's number 98.
Okay. And it lasts for 23 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yes.
I want to refer you to now the text messaging that's been entered as Exhibit 169. And it appears that the phone assigned to Ana Walshe texts, when can they have the thing signed? You see that?
I do, sir.
And immediately following that is a phone call that lasts 6 minutes from the phones assigned to Ana Walshe and Brian Walshe. 11:05, 17 a.m. A phone call that lasts 6 minutes and 54 seconds.
Correct.
A text message timestamped at 6:36:44. There's a text that reads, did they sign?
Yes, I see that.
And then you see a text following that, the very next text, timestamped at 6:39 p.m. in Exhibit 169. And it looks like it originates from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe. And she says, I emailed Stephen to see if he helped with the paperwork, correct?
Yes.
And then as we go through these text messages, the next text message is the phone assigned to Brian Walshe. She said they signed. That's the text message.
Yes.
Then the same phone texts immediately thereafter, let's get this deal done.
That's correct.
At 6:40, texts, let me have Stephen confirm and I'll Venmo them.
Yes, correct.
As one of the investigators in the case, did you have any assignment to go try to explore what this sale was?
I did not.
Okay. A text timestamped at 8:03:04 p.m. And there is a text coming from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe that says, hello.
Yes.
It's followed by a text that says, from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe, phone died.
Correct.
There's a text that immediately follows that, indicates a screenshot of a phone.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And then a text that immediately follows, literally, that's the word that's used. And that's coming from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe.
Yes.
Best divorce strategies for men, Yahoo search results. December 27th, 2022, 8:33:53 p.m. Best date to divorce for a man, Google search. December 27th, 2022, 8:51:33 p.m. 5 best and 5 worst states to get divorced in the U.S. December 27th, 2022, 8:52 p.m. Washington, D.C. divorce lawyers. December 27th, 2022, 8:54:13 p.m. Websites regarding divorce, divorce advice, mistakes in divorce, using verbal abuse, don't split up like this, the 10 stupidest mistakes men make facing divorce. It's all divorce related.
Thank you.
We can see what this is all suggesting. We can get the idea that his mental state at this point was this relationship is likely going to be over, and it gives, again, based on what the prosecution is arguing, it gives the impression that on the 25th, whatever calls that they were having, the contest between all of that, it's likely that at this point, Brian and Ana were not in a good place.
So it's a Google search for Chase login credit card, and then it does a redirect to the Chase. It does it again. It's duplicated.
Okay. And what is the date and time?
December 27th, 2022 at 8:57:13 p.m.
Put a pin on this as well. The day began with a phone call at 6:57 a.m. between Ana and Brian, initiated by Brian. Then there was another phone call lasting for 10 minutes, 43 seconds, another one lasting for a minute, a flurry of phone calls, another one lasting for 26 minutes. There was no set time given for these phone calls. So I am trusting that the set of events that was being testified to on cross-examination by Connor Keefe, that the chronology of those events are accurate and they occurred. All of these calls would have occurred before the timestamp that was given, the call between Ana and Brian at 10:59 a.m. That's my only anchor to try and put everything into perspective, into context. And like I said, this is another fact. All of these things were introduced by the defense.
From the phone assigned to Brian Walshe that says hello.
Yes.
It's followed by a text that says, from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe, phone died.
Correct.
There's a text that immediately follows that, indicates a screenshot of a phone.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And then a text that immediately follows, literally, that's the word that's used. And that's coming from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe.
Yes.
And then a text that follows about 2 minutes later, coming from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, where he simply says hello.
Yes.
Then an immediate text after that, from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe. Do you need a new phone?
Correct.
It appears at 6:18:55 a.m., where Brian Walshe, the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, is texting location data to 1001 Connecticut Avenue, northwest, a Verizon store.
Yes, it appears to be an address to a Verizon store.
Okay, and that's what we talked about a little bit before, right?
Right. Yes.
But now we have it in context, don't we? The next text, the phone assigned to Ana Walshe, she says, thank you, right?
Yes.
Okay, now we're changed to the next date, 12/28/22. We're looking at Exhibit 169, and there's a series of texts that began at 7:10:59 a.m. on page 14, and the phone assigned to Ana Walshe says, "We'll work from home today," correct?
Correct.
And then there's a text that follows 3 minutes later from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, says, "Feel better."
Correct.
I mean, from reading those texts, it would suggest that Ana Walshe wasn't feeling well, and she was working at home, correct?
Yes.
And then there's a text immediately thereafter from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe saying, "Let me get the boys ready," correct?
Yes.
As we scroll through these texts, timestamp 7:15:15 a.m., there's a text that comes from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, says, "Love you," correct? Timestamp 7:15:15 a.m.
Yes, correct.
Immediately following that text, coming from the phone assigned to Ana Walshe, and she says, the phone says, "Love you too."
Correct.
Let's fast forward to the courtroom for a second, because this is when it occurred to me that the defense were using a strategy called recontextualization to deliver their theory that this is just a mundane, happy, sometimes sad relationship between Hannah and Brian, like all relationships. That's the message I got that they were trying to use to handle these two hinge points and get rid of that motive that Brian would have to try and kill his wife.
The phone assigned to Brian Walshe says, "I will get you a plunger," correct?
Yes.
Next text from the phone assigned to Brian Walshe, "and a Porsche."
Yes.
The phone assigned to Ana Walshe says, "haha."
Correct.
Then Ana Walshe phone says, "Thank you."
Yes.
The phone assigned to Brian Walshe says they both start with P.
Correct.
Do you think that phone is referring to the Porsche and the plunger?
Yes, sir.
And then Ana Walshe, the phone anyway, responds, "I'll take care of the plunger. You just get the Porsche," correct?
Yes.
Okay. 3 hours later, the phone assigned to Ana Walshe texts back, "Fix the phone."
Correct.
She then continues, her phone does, "SIM card died."
That's what it
Correct?
seems like
Yes,
to me when I was putting together all of this timeline, because I was wondering, why would the state omit all of this information if their case was ironclad as they were presenting? I'm not going to interrogate this later. I'll just say it now. I know why they would have done something like this, because let's just be real, you can't present everything to the jury and just bring doubt to your own case. They had to conceal this, which was the only opening in my eyes anyway, that the defense had to try and attack, because it would impact the credibility of the case if they were successfully showing that there was flaws in the investigation. But why this moment? Why the December moment? Because this is a murder case, not a dismemberment case. Because I got to learn from another trial that I watched, who is David Michaels. I'm not gonna go into it, but the prosecutor at that trial even said that we don't need to show that Devon was dismembering the body of her husband who she had killed. What they said was, we just need to show that she had murdered him. Watching this trial opened my eyes to this trial, because I was like, okay, if they don't need to prove dismemberment, then I see what's going on, because they don't have to prove dismemberment in this case either. But the dismemberment was the crux of their case, because in my opinion, what the prosecution were trying to do was just implicitly claim and put the idea to the jurors' heads of, why would somebody dismember someone that they had found dead at that moment? Why would they do that if they were not committing a murder? So that's what I think was going on with these respective theories at this point, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think was going on. Now let's go back to the timeline. So the 28th of December was filled with more revelations from the cross-examination, a series of phone calls and text messages where Ana and Brian just seemed to be happy, even having discussions of getting a Porsche. This is all great. All of this was serving to undercut the divorce searches. Did it do the job? Again, let me know in the comments what you think of this moment.
It shows it's in Baltimore, Maryland.
Correct. And what is the name of the customer?
Ana Walshe.
Can you tell us what you see as far as a date and time for the receipt?
Yes, it's December 28th, 2022. And the time is 4:30 p.m.
This receipt reveals that there was an earlier visit to TGX stores at 11:16 a.m. that same day.
A receipt that corresponded to the second card.
Yes. It is Washington, D.C.
And so the date at the bottom, December 28th, is when the refund was actually issued.
Correct.
Which coincides with the incoming message of it's incoming soon at 199K, which was a message to Brian at 11:18 a.m. just 2 minutes. So she was likely in the store.
Where is the location of this store that issued the card?
It is Washington, D.C.
December 2nd date that we're looking at, opposed to a December 28th date.
The December 2nd date would be the date of the original purchase of the merchandise being refunded.
And so the date at the bottom, December 28th, is when the refund was actually issued.
Correct.
Where is the location of the Marshalls?
It shows it's in Baltimore, Maryland.
And what is the name of the customer?
Ana Walshe.
The date and time for the receipt?
Yes, it's December 28th, 2022. And the time is 4:30 p.m.
Anyways, remember Jem Mutlu? He had brought a lot of clarity to the timeline of events from his testimony, which helped me contextualize what was going on here with Connor Keith, as he revealed that he had called Ana on the 29th of December for around 45 minutes to congratulate her for closing a property. Alissa Kirby also provided testimony where she detailed what her and Ana were doing on this particular day.
And did you arrange to see her again?
Yes. I believe it was the 29th
And that was the 29th of what month?
of December.
What was her demeanor that night?
Because of what happened after Christmas, she was really upset. She was kind of breaking down because everything had been really hard, which Ana was always a very strong person, so that was very unusual for her. And she was just really upset about so much. She had really hit a breaking point. She was primarily upset about her and Brian's relationship, about being so far away from the kids, and feeling like she was upset having found out that the federal case was delayed, or she thought the federal case was delayed by Brian, and that she just really wanted to be with her kids. Their marriage had been really strained for a long time, and she told me how upset she was and how frustrating that was, and how she was really at a breaking point.
Had you seen her like this before?
No.
When talking, did she use specific words about what she had said to the defendant about the legal case?
What she told me about that was that she was upset because she wanted him to take responsibility. She wanted their family together. She wanted that whole process to be over, and she wanted him to be responsible and be accountable and do whatever he had to do to keep their family together.
What did she tell you that she meant by the word responsibility?
At that point in time, responsibility was potentially just taking jail time and admitting wrongdoing and just owning a mistake, and so that their family, that she would be waiting for them and that their family could be together.
What did she tell you about being in different states and what that physical separation might mean?
Yeah, that it was really difficult for the family, but that also, because of how difficult things were, she was contemplating what that could mean legally being able to take her children to Washington, D.C. And also the physical separation from a husband was very difficult for her.
What, if anything, did she tell you about her intimate relationship with Brian Walshe?
She told me that, aside from everything being really difficult, that they had not been intimate in a really long time, like maybe over a year, I think she had said.
Was she specific about what she meant by her energy being drained?
Yeah, at that time, she was saying that Brian was calling her several times a day, that she felt physically and emotionally exhausted traveling back and forth from DC to Massachusetts. There was just a lot on her body, mind, soul, and spirit, and that, that also just emotionally feeling like she had to be the strong one was very draining for her.
This particular context provided much needed clarity on why these searches would have been made. However, in light of Alissa Kirby's testimony, it just subtly revealed a volatile relationship on its last legs, which just begs the question even more regarding what really happened at Christmas. Did Brian see these cracks forming in his relationship? I mean, I'm just talking about the divorce searches leading up to the login for the Chase account. Did he know about Ana's affair with William Fastow?
Ms. Kirby, in this conversation on December 29th, what did she tell you about Brian and his mother and a psychic?
She told me that Brian had told her that his mom went to a psychic and that the psychic had said that she was having an affair. And that night she told me how ridiculous that was and how she was very upset by that, and she'd always felt that Brian's mom didn't like her, and that it was scary.
Where the state have framed these searches on Christmas, not the 27th, on Christmas, where the state have framed them as double interest by Brian, meaning that he was keeping her happy so that they can talk about it when they all got home. Now it looks like those searches were made likely in a panic because he thought something had happened to Ana because she didn't come home, and it just looks like a normal concern that one would have for their spouse. Moving on from the 25th, it all seems like a normal relationship. As I've been saying, sometimes issues to contend with, sometimes it does seem like they have their own problems in the relationship. If you contextualize Alissa Kirby's testimony, this is all advantage for the defense. The idea of Brian not knowing about the affair was even further bolstered by Ana's denial to her friend Alissa Kirby about the psychic, telling Brian that, or telling Diane Walshe, I should say, and from Diane to Brian, that Ana was having an affair. And I'm not a fan of the mystic arts. I am not, but psychic? Really? At this point? Psychic? That's what we're going with? It's psychic? I mean, it's just really coincidental that this information is coming from a psychic. Let's put a pin on this. And the defense hammered more texts between Ana and Brian that were mundane in nature, and Ana was saying she is boarding the flight to go home.
When did she leave for Massachusetts?
She left that next day on the 30th.
And when did you expect her to return to Washington, D.C.?
I think she had said like the third or fourth. It was a few days after New Year's she was planning to come back.
Search occurred on December 30th, 2022. It says Nightshade Noodle Bar.
If I told you it was located close to the town line of Marblehead, Massachusetts and Lynn, Massachusetts, would that sound accurate to you?
I would have to search it.
Okay, so you haven't searched it.
No.
In the context of this case, you have, as you sit here today, you have no idea of then the context of that search regarding Nightshade, do you?
It appears to be a restaurant, sir. That's
all right.
All I can say.
You would agree, wouldn't you, that that message indicates in its context that it's a reservation?
Yes, sir.
And what is the phone number that it was created?
The phone number ending in 8646.
To the best of your knowledge, nobody from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, such as yourself, as an investigator, went up and talked to anybody at Nightshade or tried to get records of any reservation that had in fact been made on 12/30 for a dinner date?
I did not, sir.
To go out to a restaurant, that would be
it would need court approval. Probation does not have the authority to approve non-essential necessities.
So you'd have to go through a court process that take quite a while to go through the federal court process?
It's a motion to the court, so it's just a documentation that needs to be submitted.
Which gives a lot of clarity that she went back to Cohasset on Christmas to spend time with the family and traveled again, likely by car, as we know that she had already booked flights ahead of time for the 30th of December. So with all this context, it just recontextualizes why Ana would be tired, why Ana would be frustrated, and in a way it reveals implicitly that the frustration was more aimed at herself for being in a position where she is away from her family on an important time of the year. In that important time, she was away from her family because of the affair. I will have to interrogate this idea a little bit later on, because the hanging out hard message that was sent by Ana introduced on cross-examination is just, I don't know, man, that seems off to me. I mean, come on, hanging out hard? I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. Nonetheless, this is the moment. This is where everything began to unravel. We learned from Hugh Dunleavy that Ana was entering her vehicle on the 30th of December. This was painting the picture that she had left the workplace and straight to the airport per the boarding now text that was sent to Brian from Ana, which would have happened at around 1:20 a.m. There was no timestamps really given by Hugh Dunleavy about when she had left, so it's just, to me anyway, that it's just likely that Ana was working late if we are to use these text messages and also the flight information as anchors to what she would have been doing when she left the workplace. I have no idea how working in real estate entails. Maybe everyone does leave at 5 p.m. Sorry, I could be, like I said, I could always be wrong. I'm always open to correction. If I have made any errors during this whole timeline, let me know in the comments and I will correct immediately. Then it's likely that she went to bar method based on Susan Garland's testimony.
This shows that Ana Walshe created a reservation for class on the morning of December 31st. She did that on December 30th at 11:18 p.m. And it shows that she was checked in for class on December 31st at 8:17 p.m.
However, this does not remove the elephant in the room that the defense still had to contend with, which was that Brian just couldn't move out of state due to the restrictions. So everything was on Ana to basically be moving around and try to move everybody after these restrictions were resolved, which was supposedly supposed to happen in 2023, after her untimely death. All of this traveling that Ana was doing, all of this traveling, the context, all of these things, the tiredness, all of that, it would have eventually reached the crack point, which I will expound on much later. New Year's Eve rolls around. This was the 31st, which we are met with testimony from Jane Cotter, who was just a bystander who had met Ana at a hair salon that day on the 31st. Likely in the morning. There was no definite time.
Did you have the opportunity to have any conversation with Ana Walshe?
I did.
Okay. First off, what was her demeanor when you were talking to her?
She was very friendly, very open, and warm.
And do you remember what she was wearing?
I do. She was wearing yoga pants and a yoga top.
What did she tell you about her plans for New Year's Eve?
She told me that she was entertaining. She was having somebody over for dinner.
What did she tell you about her plans for New Year's Day?
For New Year's Day, she told me that she was going to some kind of special dinner. Yeah, I think it was in Marblehead.
However, at 9:52 a.m., Brian had called Ana, which just gives me the impression that she would have likely been or finished off her routine at the bar method and had gone to the salon, hence why she was wearing yoga pants as described by Jen Cotter, without knowing the exact time also of when Jen Mutlu had visited the house per his testimony.
Tell us what happened when you got there at the Walshe house.
Ana came running out of the house to greet me. That's what happened.
Greeted you. Where were you when she greeted you?
I was still pulling up into the driveway. She came running out of the house with no coat on. It was freezing.
Now, when you got inside, who was home?
Brian was there.
Brian Walshe had made a Google search for replay poker at 6:53 p.m. And we know the context to this. This was the source of their arguments as it was revealed by William Fastow during his testimony, I should say.
Where did you and Ana go after dinner in Annapolis?
We went back to my home in Washington.
And did you spend the night there together?
We did.
Did you and Ana discuss how Brian Walshe reacted to Ana not being in Cohasset on Christmas Eve and getting there later on Christmas Day?
She told me that they had an argument about it, and there were some points of contention. The biggest stressor was his inability to resolve his criminal case, and the fact that because of that, she couldn't be with her children and bring them back to Washington, D.C.
Was there any discussion about credit cards?
Yes. Ana was the primary breadwinner with her job in Washington. And one evening, she was looking through her credit card statement and had found numerous charges that Brian had made. And they had a conversation about it that was heated. It was about some sports memorabilia that he had purchased for some sort of sports memorabilia business.
And do you know who she was texting?
I believe she said, let's take a photo for Will and send it to Will Fastow. And it would have been maybe a bunch of other friends, who were texting her. It was New Year's Eve.
What did the three of you do with the champagne box?
We all signed it.
Mr. Mutlu, is this the box the three of you signed?
Yes. Wow, 2022, what a year. And yet, we are still here and together. Let's make 2023 the best one yet. We are the authors of our lives. Courage, love, perseverance, compassion, and joy. Love, Ana.
This is it. We have now reached the final hinge point, New Year's Day, where William Fastow, Ana's affair partner, testified to messaging Ana on the stroke of midnight.
I received a text message from Ana, a Happy New Year's message.
Did you respond to her?
I believe I did.
Then, from 4:52 a.m. on the 1st of January, Google searches such as best ways to dispose of a body. How long does a body start to smell? How long does for somebody to be missing to be dead? All made on an iPad or a laptop. Nicholas Guarino had testified to the phone activity first being unlocked at 7:57 a.m. This was pivotal because it was only unlocked for 2 minutes and it was uncharged as well as revealed through that testimony. If there was any additional information that would have challenged this, obviously it would have been recontextualized by the defense to show no, he could not have been using his devices to have done all these things because, hey, look, his phone was being used at this point and he would not have been at the scene, etc. This puts to bed any thought of Brian not making these searches. Let's slow down for a second because in my view, every decision that Brian makes from here on came down to fear. Not like fear of seeing a ghost or not even like an irrational fear like ambulancephobia, which is a term that I have coined during this trial. It is akin to acrophobia, that irrational fear of ambulances. But with Brian and with, ambulancephobia, it is when you have an irrational fear to call the ambulance. If you have seen that your wife is lying on the bed dead and you just know that it's a sudden death, you just have this irrational fear. Anyways, Brian had that ambulancephobia fear for some reasons that we would never understand that led him to make irrational choices that he had made that particular day as it was being theorized by the defense in their opening statements. However, based on all of this info, it was not ambulancephobia. It was the fear of exposure. Let's think about all this for a second, because what does that say about Brian's motive into all of this? Because that's all the state was trying to show. This is all they have to work with a case where there is no body recovered, where Ana's remains was not even found in the bin. It was just completely dissolved. With this many hinge points, therefore, to complete this timeline, we have to resolve the first 2 hinge points and what they were trying to achieve with the strategies that they deployed. As mentioned earlier, the defense main points carried out by Kelly Burgess as well as Larry Tipton, it was to recontextualize everything, to create reasonable doubt and undercuts the state's theory that was mainly Brian did not want to lose his family and killed Ana to keep his kids. Based on this timeline, the strategy appears to be forced based on the double bind that they were in to try and resolve all of this. I'm pretty sure that they know that there was a risk that they just had to take by throwing all of this, and it just seemed like that was their only option. And in my opinion, it did its job. It showed that Ana and Brian had problems. Like every couple, every witness testified to not knowing of the affair. That was established in the record, and all of this undermines William Fastow's credibility in the process because he said that he was open with it, and the defense shut that down. It's like, nope, you weren't. And I must give the defense their flowers as well, because they even took the opportunity to during William Fastow's testimony, knowing that he was the pivotal witness to delivering the state their win, really, that they were basically asserting their own theory implicitly, that everything was a fine relationship. They reframed that Ana and Fastow's affair was just not that serious. They even presented the idea that Ana would have been saying whatever she was saying to appease William Fastow to keep the affair going and going, and she was never ever going to end the marriage. She just liked the thrill of it. And it seems like on the 27th, when the message was introduced of William Fastow, that message where he had to read out saying that he was not going to tell his kids about the relationship.
Specific plan to tell Brian about your relationship with Ana, and you told the grand jury that day that there was not.
That is correct.
Okay. So there was no plan as Ana went home for Christmas to be with her family that she was going to come clean and tell Brian about you.
As I said, there was no plan that I was aware of.
She never told you, hey, Will, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna talk to Brian, I'm gonna blow up my marriage and come be with you. She never told you that.
That is correct.
Am I correct in the text messages that you provided? It starts at December 29th of 2022?
Yes, that's what it says on the cover page here.
You say, he can't imagine me with someone else. Like all children of separated parents, he deeply wants us to reconcile. Introducing him to someone else would destroy that fantasy. It would crush him now, right?
Yes.
And that was right around Christmas time and New Year's that you texted Ana Walshe that.
Yes.
So you had no intentions of having any immediate plans to openly start dating Ana Walshe with your 2 young boys.
Correct.
This, in my opinion, kind of made Ana maybe wonder, what is she doing with this guy? Like, why? I think that's even why I was looking at that hanging out hard, because it just seems dejected in nature. It just seems so weird that you would send that message. It just, I don't know. I think I'm overthinking, but the overall point I want to make is, it makes sense why she would break down on the 29th and just not tell about the affair, because this is like, nope, remember what I said to William, I want to tell Brian on my own integrity. Remember all of that. This gives a dual meaning now to that whole time, because it just seemed like she was just tired of the running around, tired of the affair, and just spilled to her friend, and yet still did not even tell her of the affair. So in my opinion, this is the crack point. It just makes sense that from the 24th to the 29th, knowing that she missed time to spend with her kids and her boyfriend, and she's spending it with her boyfriend, it just makes sense why she may have expressed to Fastow about telling the kids, and Fastow's response is him telling her he's not gonna tell his kids. I have no idea what her thinking may have been like at this point, and I believe that Brian may have saw this particular text and just asked her, hey, what is this? Why is William messaging you this? But this moment, this is likely when Ana maybe have come clean to Brian and just, because she's just tired of everything. At this point, she's just cracking under pressure. The defense had no answer at all for this 3rd inch point, the New Year's, because there was nothing to recontextualize. This was the double-edged sword I was mentioning earlier. If someone in the jury had just said, hey, what is that Chase login doing at 8:57? What does that mean? This case is over. If that was ever the case, this is over. Anyways, no matter what happened that night, it started a chain of events where we saw Google searches. Can I still use my wife's credit card at 10:30 a.m.? My wife is missing. What should I do? All of this made on his laptop, because remember, his phone is charging at this point. So he would have made it on a laptop or iPad. This is all revealing that this is the construction of the missing story starting to take shape. Again, the phone was charging on a wall at 7:52 a.m. Remember that? And he had access to it once, put it down, and that was it. Back to the computer. So, best ways to dispose of body parts after murder. Access 6 ways to dispose of a body part, murder website. He then learns about the name Patrick Kearney from this particular website, likely searches Patrick Kearney, who reveals that he was a trash bag killer. This is now the modus operandi. Then he watches a YouTube video called Clean Up Dead Body or Wired. I did this also to check the length of the video. So UK police, please do not arrest me. I am not planning to actually carry out a murder, please. But 3 minutes later, after watching that video and watching all of it, it was only 2:52 minutes in length. He learned everything he could. 3 minutes later, he got to work as the video, I don't know, maybe he watched it again and then it was playing in the background as he switches tabs, because again, remember, the phone is locked to this point and attached to a wall. He searches how to clean blood on a wood floor, then searches can I use bleach to clean my wood floors from stains? What does bleach do to dead bodies? How to clean blood stains with hydroperoxide? All of these things he would have been learning from the YouTube video, and now the shopping list is being created. At this point, Ana is probably still lying on the bed or on the floor, whichever one, I don't know. She is dead at this point. The dismemberment has not even happened yet. He travels to these respective stores, which were likely an hour or so away from his house, to purchase these items.
Now, at the bottom, what was the total for the sale?
$463.26.
How was the sale conducted, cash or charge?
It was cash.
According to the receipt.
5 bottles of hydrogen peroxide spray and a Roundup for Feed America.
The date is January 1st, 2023 at 6:56 p.m.
And what was the window of release on Sunday, January 1st of 2023?
On the 1st, he had submitted a request to return his mother home from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And what do you mean return his mother home?
He indicated that his mother was staying with him post-surgery and he was taking her back to her residence.
In light of the testimony from Ramda Howe, this reveals a really covert strategy to get all this done whilst he has the cover of caring for his mother. On the 2nd of January 2023, William Fastow tried calling Ana at this point and it went straight to voicemail.
The following day, I had sent her a photo of me showing one of my children how to ski. I had sent her, I think, a waving hand emoji. I think I'd sent a question mark query and then a couple of other texts over the next day or two that went that were not responded to. I believe I tried calling her on January 2nd, and it went straight to voicemail. I tried that a couple times, and then I called her from a landline, thinking that she may have blocked my cell phone.
There were two things that was revealed from that testimony from William Fastow, because it showed that maybe there was that insecurity with William that him and Ana were not going to work out, and Ana is not picking up his calls. I don't know what went on, but it seems like he just thought, okay, this fling is over because of what they were talking about on the 27th. I just thought I say that because it would just contribute to whatever may have happened on the 31st or the 1st when he had messaged her the New Year's Eve message. However, that is not the real takeaway. The real takeaway is that Ana would have been dismembered at this point. Through the night, searches was made on how to remove a SIM from the iPhone. This would explain why it keeps going to voicemail. Brian Walshe was seen at TJ Maxx at Norwell where he had made more purchases. Mutlu sends a picture to the group chat of the necklace, which was read by Brian at 2:26 p.m. and he messages that Thomas just found his phone playing on Williams, and this is just extremely contradictory because we already know that his phone is charging just the day before he has the phone. At 2:33 a.m. he messages Ana saying, "Hello, Thomas found the phone playing on William's bed." Connor testified that this was not delivered. Of course, because the SIM would have been out of the phone at this point, he would have been disengaged. More searches were made to learn about the disposal process after shifting from the dismemberment process, where he is asking what powder marks smells the best. If you're wondering where the children are at this point, based on Ramda Howe's testimony, they would have been in daycare every day from 8 a.m. I believe it was to 10 a.m. he had the window to go to drop them off in daycare and then pick them up again by 3 p.m. He made travels to Home Depot to carry out what he had learned from these searches with the intention, because Ramda Howe reveals the covert strategy again.
On Monday the 2nd, he only had pickup and drop off of the children, so 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and then pick up from 3:15 to 6:45. I reached out to him to ask him about the unauthorized leave, and he indicated that he was picking up his children per usual.
Because Ramda Howe reveals the covert strategy that is being used by Brian, and this was, let's not bring attention to all of my travels by doing this out of the window. Let's do this in the windows. I can travel and move around. This shows methodical planning. This shows that this guy is careful.
A&H baking soda, what is that?
That is a 12-pound bag of baking soda. It was the one that was on the bottom of the cart.
Home Depot sells 12 pounds of baking soda?
Yes.
After traveling back from Walgreens, he searches, I'm good. I mean, why would you search this? I don't know. Maybe he'll come to me later. But then he messages Ana, "Hello, where are you? Please call or email." This, of course, in context of all that happened, is clearly the full implementation of the missing persons plan. As we were mentioning earlier, this is him doing all of it. This is the intention I was mentioning to earlier. Connor Keith testified that the message to Ana was not delivered either. The third rolls by. Again, more Google searches were made, and it was giving the vibe that Brian was learning on the job as he was preparing for his next travels. It just seems to be his pattern now. It just reveals that this guy, like I said earlier, is a methodical planner. At 6:39 a.m., he lays out whatever plan he had noted down about messaging Ana 3 times in the same minute, expressing concern. Nonetheless, this is the first time he has called Ana and got through to voicemail. I highlight that because this is not someone that is urgently concerned about somebody. But anyway, he messages Alissa.
Hello, I know we did this a week ago, but have you heard from Ana?
And how did you respond to that?
I said, hey Brian, sorry for the delay. I was sleeping. I have the flu and I'm super sick. I texted with Ana on New Year's Day, but no, haven't heard from her. Is she working today? She's usually running around super busy with work. He said, you're right. I'll let you know when she calls. Feel better soon.
What happened Wednesday morning?
I received a call from Brian, and he said, have you heard from Ana?
What did you say?
And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, Ana's been missing. And I said, how could she be missing? And he said that she left that morning after I had left. She left a few hours later. I think he said around 6:30, that she got in an Uber and left.
And did he say why she left?
Yes, he said that she had a work emergency. I was incredulous. I said, what work emergency could there have been on New Year's Eve that, was commercial property? What could it be? I said, listen, did you guys have an argument or something? Did you have a fight? His response was, I do remember this vividly as well. His response was, no. Did it look like we had an argument? You were there. His tone was not panicked.
Speaking with Alissa, which I believe is a turning point in all of this, in how he was found. After speaking with Alissa, he searches, can a body decompose in a plastic bag at 4:30? He travels then to Claremont Apartments, which was searched for the day before, likely to dispose of the body in bags. And Ramda Howe again revealing the strategic covert to cover his tracks and just not draw attention to himself as he was traveling to these places.
And what was the window of release on Tuesday, January 3rd?
Tuesday, drop off children, 8 to 10:30. Pick up children, 3:15 to 6:45. And he had a reoccurring schedule as well to get his trash out. And that was from 7:50 to 8:20, I believe, in the evening, sorry.
Then he messages Ana after his dumpster run, saying, where are you, etc. The 4th of January rolls on. This is where his plan was seemingly completed, where he searched, does a cell phone track your historical record? And this was the last search that was made for the day, as testified to by Nicholas Guarino, after going to TJ Maxx saying he's calling Jeff now. There's no record presented to say that he called Jeff.
And the next morning, when I realized I hadn't heard back, I texted him, did you ever hear back?
And then what happened?
And then he said, no, they're looking for work now. And that's when I got really scared that something was wrong.
And how were you alerted that Ms. Walshe was missing?
A coworker came over to let me know that her husband had called the crossing team looking for her.
And you said you called from your cell phone. About what time did you call Mr. Walshe that morning, January 4th?
Between 10 and 11.
Okay.
This is why this moment matters. He is now traveling to the stores to complete his plan of concealment, which now reframes this moment on CCTV and makes it seem like he's at ease, knowing everything. He probably got away with it, knowing that maybe, and you know what, I just thought, Maybe that "I'm good" message from the third is just, it's just this guy. It's just this guy using Google search as a personal diary. I have no idea, man. Just like, anyway.
Referenced Mr. Dunleavy into a call with Brian.
Correct.
So you'd already called Brian before getting Mr. Dunleavy on the call.
Yeah, I believe that was the second call, though.
With this conversation with Mr. Walshe, what was his demeanor like in the second conversation?
So when Hugh joined?
Prior to Mr. Dunleavy joining.
Oh, he was polite and calm and nice.
And what did you tell Mr. Walshe about bringing Mr. Dunleavy into this conversation?
I had said, Hugh is ex-Secret Service, and you'll be in great hands.
And what was his demeanor like at that point in time in the conversation?
It sounded like he was crying and said he needed a minute and, very abruptly returned.
Think of it. Now it makes sense with this context. It just makes sense why he would look upset when he learned that Hugh Dunleavy was a former Secret Service.
Very quickly, when I started asking about Ana, his demeanor changed. He got very emotional, unintelligible, to the point where I had to ask him to calm down so I could just understand what he was saying.
And how long do you think he was unintelligible for?
It was quick, 20 to 30 seconds at most. He was quickly able to reestablish his composure and began the conversation. I asked him very specifically when was the last time he spoke to his wife. He said, I noted that it was the 4th of January, and the last time he'd seen his wife was on the 1st. So it was 3 days. Is that normal? He indicated it was not atypical for them to not speak for several days, but he was now calling work to find out where she was. Coming from Mr. Walshe, he indicated it was a work emergency. He was non-specific. He didn't know the nature of it. I spoke to Mr. Walshe, said I was unaware of a work emergency that would necessitate bringing Ana back to D.C. I said I would check, but I was unaware of any emergency at the residential properties in D.C.
Did you check?
I did.
Did you discover a work emergency?
I did not. I discussed that it was imperative that it was, again, now the 4th. He tells me the last time he saw his wife is on the 1st. It was imperative that he reach out to local law enforcement. I asked him, had he done that? And he said, no, not yet. I told him that he must. I advised him that he should, as soon as we hang up the phone, call his local law enforcement. I asked him what department was the local department. He didn't know. I asked him where he lived. He said Cohasset. And I told him, I said, Mr. Walshe, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to call Cohasset Police Department and report your wife missing.
December of 2022, what did you do as far as going away on a vacation?
I went to the Caribbean over New Year's.
And during that time, did you ever receive any calls from Mr. Brian Walshe?
Yes.
When?
I believe it was Thursday of the week that I was there, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the late afternoon time frame.
And can you tell us about the conversation? What was the conversation you had with Mr. Walshe in this phone call?
Yes. So he had asked me if I had security on my building, and I said, no, not at this time. We were still in the building process. And so I said, why? And he said, well, my wife is missing. She took an Uber this morning, or was supposed to take an Uber this morning to go to D.C. for work. And we haven't found her, and she didn't show up in D.C.
Did he tell you what time she left?
I think in the 4 to 5 range in the morning.
Now, and you said that your building was under construction. What building was being worked on?
Cohasset Imports.
And did you tell him about any other places that might have cameras?
Yes. So next door north of me, there's a home, and I thought he might have security. So I mentioned the name and said you could check with him.
He was never, ever going to file a police report. He had no interest in doing this whatsoever. Now the 5th of January rolls by, and then we learn that he goes to the trash compactor. Again, not breaking routine because he just doesn't want attention to himself, per Randall House testimony that day.
What was his window of release on Thursday, January 5th?
On January 5th, he had a reoccurring schedule to drop off his children between 8 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. He then had a pass to assist his mother with some errands from 10:15 to 1:30. And then he had a reoccurring schedule to pick up his children from 3:45 to 6:15.
The morning schedule and the afternoon schedule, was that a set recurring schedule?
Correct, Monday through Friday.
He still doesn't want to draw attention to himself, so he only goes to the trash compactor with the agenda to confirm that the trash was taken, which is why when on the 5th he returns back to his house, he seemed calm and collected when Gregory Lawrence turned up to basically do a welfare check and find out what is going on. All of those events has led us to this moment in this courtroom and this very video, which I really, again, I must tip my hat off to the prosecution for this case and the redirect of Miss Waldrop, because when they asked regarding the trash pickup days,
You saw the video.
Yeah.
Is there any signage on the dumpsters saying when they're going to be picked up?
No.
Do you have a website for the Claremont?
Yes.
Does that have any notice on when the dumpsters are going to be picked up?
No.
Thank you very much.
May I ask one on redirect?
You may.
When was the dumpster picked up? After January 3rd?
What day of the week was that? When it was a Tuesday? I'm sorry.
Sure, I have a calendar right here on my desk. If January 3rd was a Tuesday, when would the dumpster have been picked
Wednesday. It gets picked up Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursday. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Thank
3
you.
times a week.
Thank you. Nothing further.
and I'll be honest, during trial I was like, why are you asking that question? This is not making sense. Like, why are you asking if the recycle days? I looked at it, I'm like, okay, cool. I looked at the days, I'm like, okay, Brian wouldn't have learned about the recycle days from the cross-examination, so he wouldn't have known to have disposed of the body at any, following the cross-examination. I thought there's no way that Brian would have known what these days would have been. But him traveling to that site means he had full knowledge that these were the days that was going to be picked up. And he doesn't need to search that because he already knew, living in this environment, living in this neighborhood for so long, he would have known. And I do think that the defense strategy was successful. I mean, let's be honest. If anyone had a case like this and you are able to have the jury go home on the weekend and come back and make the decision on Monday, you've won. You've won the case. I know it's a loss, and I know it's the biggest cope to even say that, but think about it. This case should have come on day one. Everyone expected it. This case should have been over literally in hours. I've seen, we've covered Daisy Link that happened literally in minutes. Like, it was in that same day that it was ended. So if you're a defense attorney and this case goes home, that's a win. That is a massive win, because end of the day, the evidence was beyond overwhelming and a loss was inevitable. All this strategy seems to have done is just buy them more time so that they can, just buy them more time with the jury. And I mean, it's really a breath of fresh air that in Massachusetts that they not only know how to investigate thoroughly and ethically, they can also prosecute the same way as well. Was that? It wasn't done ethically? Those Google searches? They were done without a warrant? Oh. Just seems like a normal day in Massachusetts then. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this video has brought clarity to this trial and you have been able to catch up effectively. You've got great taste. A true tastemaker, if you will. Let me know what you think about the case and the video in the comment section, and I always appreciate every single one of your comments. It really does help me going. Also, do not forget to check out the Ketchup Court website for trial reports and much more information about the cases that I do cover, for an easier catch up so that you can learn about these cases. Dismemberment. It is a weird crime that happens in multiple different ways. How about the case of a man who dismembered his wife and claimed that a mysterious figure that goes by the name of Jim McIntyre was behind it? I kind of saw where it was coming from. I just needed to meet this Jim McIntyre person. The video should be coming up on your screen for you to watch. I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup Man, and this has been The Ketchup.